What's going on, Badger Nation? It is Mike here, Steven here. Steven, how are you doing amongst all this coronavirus, COVID-19 in the world right now?
I am surviving. I actually just made a pact with my roommates. We agreed that none of us would cut our hair or shave our facial hair until coronavirus has been eradicated from the United States.
You might be waiting for a long time.
We could be in this. This could have been a more than a year commitment, but
You mean not one case? Because there's a difference with like life back to normal.
Whenever the news headline says it has been eradicated.
Okay. Listeners out there, we have to hold Steven to this. Don't forget, you can always check out our episodes on YouTube if you want to see Steven's
The de-evolution of Steven.
There you go. That's actually that's actually pretty good. It'll be good for the Mad Max apocalypse.
Mike, will you join? Will you join in?
Will I join in? I mean, I don't think you can get a haircut right now.
So you're not going to shave?
I don't think I'll have a choice. I was actually thinking about shaving for the virus.
Oh.
Steven and I were talking. This is a crazy time, unprecedented time, and we wanted to put together an episode that is really practical, really useful, as we do every single week. But this one we're going to try to record and get it out to you as soon as possible. We're recording this on March 19th at about 3 o'clock Central. What time is it for you, Steven?
1 p.m. Pacific.
Cool. So we wanted to get this episode out as fast as possible. So we're going to release this as soon as we get it back from our editor, and the blog post, if you normally read those, and the YouTube videos will go up a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. What we're going to be doing this episode is really giving you a toolkit on how to interpret your campaigns during COVID-19, during this coronavirus, so that you can better navigate some of these changes, these fluctuations that you're seeing. We're going to try to talk about what some of those fluctuations are and some of the 5 biggest metrics to watch. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Really practical tips on what to do with your campaigns during this critical time. And I did want to mention too that there are some industries that are actually like seeing upticks, where people are actually spending more, where people are actually wanting to work even more on their campaigns and go deeper with them. If you are one of those people, we do have an opening on our managed services program. So if you're spending over $10,000 a month, we have a slot open. Definitely hit us up because we would love to work with you during this critical time. We want to see how we can help put our heads together. And we really like our managed services program because it really allows us to get really intimate with some really great companies. So feel free to hit us up on that. Steven, anything else to say or anything else that you want to say before we get into those 5 metrics that are really important during this critical time?
I'll just throw in there that I kind of at first didn't want to talk about the coronavirus just because everybody was talking about it, and I was like, man, are we just like? I mean, I personally felt kind of overwhelmed by just all of the chatter, every single Instagram post, and just being like, man, can we not be just another email in everyone's inbox saying, here's our take on it? Because I really care about what Chase Bank thinks about the coronavirus. Like, but then in our community forums, I saw a lot more people asking questions, being like, what should I do? Should I pause my campaigns? Is this the equivalent of like, pulling out all my stocks and, trying to cut losses? So there has been a lot of questions about this. So when Mike and I got talking, I realized I think it would be an important thing to address and help people basically interpret the data and don't make rash decisions, but make data-based decisions. So yeah, that's why we're going to talk about, the 5 metrics that you want to watch, as well as, what time frames do you want to be looking at. So that is it from me.
Cool. Let's jump into those metrics. Alrighty, so the 5 metrics are going to be ACOS, conversion rate, spend, revenue, and revenue per click. So even before we touch on those metrics, we should first think about the time frames at which we are analyzing things. Stephen, what are your tips, your thoughts on actually analyzing all these metrics that we're going to be doing when people log into their accounts? What should they set the date selector to?
Great question. So things really got crazy around kind of towards the end of the first week of March, around the 5th or 6th, 7th. That's when things really got crazy. So the metric that I've been using for the accounts that I manage is I've been constantly monitoring month to date. I think at this point, that is the most important metric because you want to be dealing with the most relevant data. I think month to date and rechecking that every single day is a good balance between recent data, but also amount of data and data confidence, because as the days go on, you get a little bit more data, and that's way better than just going in and just being like, show me the last 60 days or last 30 days, because you're going to be, if it's March 15th and you say, show me the last 30 days, well, you had the last half of February where no one was really freaking out yet. So yeah, month to date has been the most important time frame for me, and I've been comparing month to date to February's month to whatever date of the month that would have been back then. So I've been using that mostly.
Yeah, exactly. Just like with anything when it comes to time frames, definitely being aware of that time frame. You don't want to do last 30 days on January 7th because that's going to include a holiday rush. So it wouldn't make sense for you to make calculations based off that. So always being aware of the time frames that you're looking at definitely makes sense. I'm totally in alignment with you there. One thing that's difficult to pull out of Amazon is, of course, the change in time frames. So meaning like trend line data. So that's where looking at some of the charts above what it is that you're looking at can be helpful in helping you determine, is it trending upwards, trending downwards? Where is it going? What was it doing a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? That can always be helpful. So when we move into our first metric, the first metric to watch, probably the one that's on most people's minds, is of course ACOS. So ad cost of sales, ad cost over sales. We talk about this a lot. We produce a lot of content on ACOS. And I think my first piece of advice out there for everyone, do not freak out over high ACOS. Do not pause your campaigns. Longevity matters. So if you are experiencing a high ACOS, not to say don't care about that high ACOS, but don't overreact and pause your campaigns. Because longevity of those campaigns matters. And if you pause it, at 9 a.m. when you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm panicking, let me go ahead and pause these. By 2 p.m., after you've maybe gotten off the crazy news digest, it's possible that at that point you're like, okay, well, let me turn these back on and let me reapproach them. And longevity matters. So the longer you can leave a campaign running, generally the better it is. So by leaving that campaign running longer, you're generally it's better. Like you have a lower ramp up time. There are scenarios where we do recommend pausing campaigns, whereas if a campaign is really structured poorly, needs a lot of work, and it's just not worth it fixing it, then in those situations you might want to restart it anew. But for what we're going to talk about today, during everything that's going on, try not to pause it. We're going to talk about how to actually take action and optimize it so that you can get your ACOS under control. And of course, ACOS doesn't exist on its own, Stephen. ACOS is directly related to your target ACOS, because high ACOS, low ACOS is all relative, isn't it?
People are seeing their ACOS go up. Some people are seeing their ACOS go down. And one thing that you do have to keep in mind is your target ACOS, your actual goal that is set, which usually relies heavily upon your break-even ACOS. And for a lot of sellers, I bet that their break-even ACOS is now lower than it was before, because maybe shipping expenses are going up, suppliers' prices are going up. So there's a lot to consider there. So your break-even may even be getting lower, which may cause people to freak out because their ACOS has gone up, but their break-even's gone down. And one thing that I would really want to encourage these people, as they're seeing their ACOS go up, is don't, like Mike said, don't just pause your campaigns altogether. And the thing that I always love to point out is that, well, I'm going to point out two things, but one, ACOS is a matter of spend over sales. And so that being said, 2, campaigns don't spend money. Keywords spend money. Like at the end of the day, it comes down to keywords. It comes down to your bids. Those are what spend money, not your campaigns. So if a campaign has a high ACOS, rather than pausing the whole thing, the best strategy here is to open up your ad groups, check out your keywords, take your best performing keywords and focus on those ones. Focus on the bottom of funnel keywords, the ones that are driving you revenue, that are, within your break-even ACOS. And the second thing I would say, and we'll circle back to this later, but adjust bids daily because we're in such an unprecedented time. This is a time where like you do need to be checking in every single day. We're not going to really have consistent data, or at least I should say predictable data. Mm-hmm. So this is no longer a once a week task. This is a daily task going in, checking out your keywords. It's a better strategy at this point to pause keywords, not campaigns. So now's not the best time to focus on your super top of funnel, high reach impression expansion goal keywords. So that would be my advice there for how to, kind of interpret your ACOS data and what action to take.
Very well said. And, as you start by, as you look at that top level metric of your campaign spend, your campaign ACOS, and then as you go down deeper, you will start to see individual targets. So individual keywords, individual auto targets, individual product targets. And these things are where you can start to make changes that are actually going to influence your top level, campaign level ACOS, your account level ACOS. So as we get into metric 2, which is conversion rates, let's focus and let's sort of go down, start drilling down from our campaigns to our ad groups to our individual keywords and targets. So here we go. Metric 2, conversion rates. So conversion rates, and just a quick refresher, just in case conversion rates are new or relatively new to you, conversion rates are going to be the percentage of clicks that end up with a conversion. So really simple example, if you have 10 clicks and 1 conversion, that is a 10% conversion rate, or 10% of your clicks are getting you a conversion. So it's the rate at which you get orders. So as you open up your account, as is sort of always true, there's going to be some keywords with strong conversion rates and ones with low conversion rates. The thing that you want to pay attention to, which relates back to point number 1, where Stephen mentioned adjusting bids daily, is that your conversion rate is an input that you are getting. You're getting this data from Amazon. It's telling you this keyword is converting with this product at 2% conversion rate or 4% conversion rate. And that's over a period of time. So if you look at it over a year, it might be 8% conversion rate. If you look at it month to date, it might be a 4% conversion rate. In a situation like that, you want to be responsive and you want to be tuned in towards what is this conversion rate of each keyword. So that is something that's going to be important, and more important as we talk about CPC next, because your conversion rate is going to immediately impact your CPCs, meaning higher conversion rates dictate higher bids. Therefore, you get higher CPCs. It's worth more to you. And then other conversion rates that are falling are going to dictate lower CPCs so that you bid less, because these are going to be less profitable for you. So a lot of these metrics are closely tied together, but as you drill down from metric 1 and you start going down to individual targets and you are looking at those conversion rates, that is where a lot of the optimization takes place. And one thing I think that separates, a strong marketer during these times and a weak marketer during this time, a weak marketer might open up their campaigns, see a high ACOS keyword, and just completely obliterate it. And I think stronger marketers look at it and they say, well, what was the conversion rate historically? What is the conversion rate right now? And what should I be paying for this particular keyword based off the value that it's giving me? Because anything with a conversion rate means that it converts at least sometimes, and then you can go in there and make decisions as to, should I be pausing this, or is it salvageable if I give it a more appropriate bid? So conversion rates, the point that I want people to walk away with is conversion rates are moving, they're fluid, and we need to be responsive on that. And before we move into, before I hand the mic over to Stephen, who's probably got some more to say about conversion rates, I want to really accentuate that these are fluid movements and we need to be responsive to them. So as they go up, we need to take action. As they go down, we decrease bids. As they go up, we increase bids. The second thing too is we need to pay attention to where the conversion rates are coming from, in the sense of, if you look at an auto campaign and you're, looking at the conversion rate of complements or substitutes, what you're actually looking at is the conversion rate of hundreds of different things. If you're looking at the conversion rate of a broad match, you're looking at the conversion rate of dozens and dozens of different clicks that you actually got. If I'm bidding on a broad match, I always use running shoes, so I'm going to use karate gi instead. So if I'm bidding on karate gi broad match, it's possible that I show up for karate equipment, and maybe karate equipment has a 1% conversion rate, but maybe karate gi for men has a 8% conversion rate. We can't treat this keyword on all these different search terms as the same conversion rate. We always want to be sure we're looking at appropriate data, which is where looking at your search terms and finding the real conversion rate of what you're actually getting clicks for is incredibly important, that search term report. So to recap that thought, conversion rates are fluid. As they go up, we want to bid more. As they go down, we want to bid less. And then 2, we really want to be sure, what are we actually getting conversions for? We always want to make decisions based off the things that we got the conversions for, because that helps us get closer to our perfect bid for what we're actually getting clicks for. So Stephen, do you have any more thoughts about, conversions going up, conversions going down? Because I'm sure people are seeing a lot of fluctuation in their campaigns right now.
I would say that the average conversion rate has been, we've said like around 9-10%, maybe a little closer to 10. Right now, there has been a bigger split between who has because that's an average of like, high converters, low converters. And lately there is now a bigger split between the higher converters and lower converters based on niche. So some niches are seeing their conversion rates go up in this season. Others are seeing theirs go down. And this is what I would call, is your product in a thrive or dive niche. And what your conversion rates are doing in March as compared to February is the best indicator of, are you in a thrive or dive? So thrive meaning your rates are going up, dive, they're going down. So the thing with like the whole quarantine idea that we're now living in is people are moving to e-commerce. I mean, Amazon just said that they're hiring 100,000 employees to support like all the demand now from e-commerce. So there's going to be, fulfillment centers that are getting more employees and more help. There's going to be way more Amazon Prime delivery drivers. So a lot of people who would normally shop at grocery stores or supermarkets are now moving to online. And so these are going to be the companies where they're going to see probably a big boost in their revenue, boost in their conversion rates, more traffic than usual. Those are going to be, so different niches that will thrive will be consumable. So household products, supplements, things like that, even subscription items. A lot of health-related items, obviously, are going to, be thriving. So thermometers, those will become big sales. Medical devices for seniors, like those will probably blow up. Another thing that we're going to see this will probably be a little bit of a short-term, thriving scenario, but non-essentials for students or home workers. So laptops, desks, these are all things that you're probably, if you are selling one of these items, you've probably already seen an increase in conversion rates and you want to lean into that. Like now's your time to bid aggressively, try to win the top of search placements. I'm guessing there will maybe even see some like home improvement, home comfort, home decor boosts. Maybe like, things people ordering new furniture, workout items, stand-up desks, like things like that were never really necessary. And people didn't want to fork out the money. I mean, like I just told you, I just bought a $200 water dispenser that I never really needed before, but because it's kind of tough to get water now without leaving the house. I got like this 5-gallon jug thing next to my desk. So that's an expense that I made that I wouldn't normally have made. Now, as for the dive products, these are going to be like a lot of luxurious items. So, watches, designer bags, clothing, because this is the problem of, kind of heading into a recession is people are going to be increasingly cautious about how much they're wanting to spend. And so the items that were more disposable income type products are going to be the ones that we see a big dive in. So, anything else you would want to add to that, Mike?
There's probably a sprinkling of like unpredictability too. It's really hard to say, right? Like, who knows exactly where it will go? We're coming into summer. Are people going to still want to go outside on hikes? Maybe, because that's something that they can do without a lot of social interaction, So I think there's a degree of like, I'm always the one in the room that's like sprinkling some like, well, I don't know, a little like unpredictability. Like it's going to be hard to say, but I think you're pretty spot on with all of your thoughts that you had in terms of like consumables, health related items, things to help you work from home. I think those are, some obvious, like, yeah, I agree with those things. That's pretty good. So the point there with the conversion rates is you need to know where they're coming from, and you need to be on top of them up and down so that you can take action on that. And that's really the big determining factor, which leads us directly into metric 3, your CPCs. The cool thing about these metrics and the cool thing about PPC in general is like how things are related to one another. So we talked about ACOS, and ACOS is an impact of, well, how many sales you get and how much you're paying for those sales. And how many sales you get is determinant of your conversion rates. And then the other part of that is how much you're spending, which is your cost per clicks, which is you get to influence that by your bids. So as your conversion rates goes up, you will want to be increasing your bids because those keywords are worth more. And of course, your target ACOS is sprinkled in there too, because you want to bid as much as you can without going over your target ACOS in a perfect world, because that allows you more visibility over your competition. And as your conversion rates are going down, you're going to want to decrease your bids a relative amount. So in that example earlier where I mentioned, hey, if I had an 8% conversion rate normally, but now my conversion rate is 4%, and now my ACOS is like twice as bad as I want it to be. When it was 8%, my ACOS was like sitting pretty at 25%. But now that my conversion rate is at 4%, I'm doing worse. I'm doing half as bad as I normally do. So now my ACOS is at 50%. So I went from 25 to 50% because my conversion rate got chopped in half. Considering that your CPCs, have stayed the same throughout that time, the way to influence that, the way to react to a falling conversion rate is with a falling bid. So this relates to what we mentioned in point 1. Don't go pausing your campaigns. Don't necessarily pause your keywords either. If you're seeing a spike in a good keyword, like an ACOS spike on a good keyword, that is like the number one diagnosis for that. Optimize your bids. So optimize your bids. You always want to, calculate what is this keyword worth? Let me bid exactly to that. So as your conversion rate gets like twice as bad, you want to lower your bid by half, because that will help you offset the lowered conversion rate that you have. That'll help you offset it. So bids are huge. Stephen, you mentioned you got to update your bids daily. Could not agree more, especially during times like this. Do people still need to take into account like a data delay? The data delay is getting a little bit smaller, so that's good. But when you update your bids daily, how do you think about the data delay now?
So Amazon said that they only have a 12-hour data delay. That's what it says, at least in the campaign manager. So I said month to date. I mean month to yesterday. That's what I use.
Yeah, I implied that. Yeah. So go on. Sorry to interrupt.
I was going to say one more thing about CPCs, just as a metric that you're watching. So when people, ACOS, we already talked about, like, we did the episode, like, is ACOS a vanity metric? And it can be at times because, again, campaigns don't create ACOS. Keywords create ACOS. And really, CPCs create ACOS. And the one reason why you might see your ACOS go up like maybe your conversion rates stayed the same, like they weren't impacted, and your revenue stayed the same, and like they weren't impacted, but your ACOS went up. And it's like, what the heck? Well, it's possible that your cost per click went up. And so if, say you set like a $5 bid on a keyword, you might only be charged like $3, $4 if you're the highest bidder. But if you were in one of those thrive niches, well, now your competition may be trying to, like, they're taking advantage of this seasonality. And so they're starting to bid more aggressively with their ads. And now their bidding, their increased competition is causing your bids to go closer to what your max bid was previously set at, even though your cost per click wasn't the same as your max bid. So you could be seeing that happen. Your space might be getting more competitive. The other thing that could happen is your space might be getting less competitive. And consider this scenario. Say again, we'll do a smaller example. Say you were bidding $1, and let's say top of search was worth $1.20, but you weren't really winning any of those placements. You were bidding $1, and the rest of search, say you're getting most of your placements at rest of search, and that was 50 cents. So your cost per click is around 50 cents. You're not winning any top of search impressions at $1.20 because you're not willing to spend that much because it's not profitable for you. But let's say your competition has paused all of their campaigns because their ACOS started going super high up at top because the conversion rates were falling. They were in a dive niche. They were they were selling car parts, let's say, and people aren't really driving these days. So they're selling auto parts, and, they realize top of search isn't profitable anymore. So either they decrease their bids and they come out of that, or they pause their campaigns altogether. And now you're the highest bidder at $1. And so all of a sudden you're winning placements where you never were before, and your CPCs have now jumped to $1, and that's not profitable for you. So again, don't freak out and just pause your campaign altogether. Look at the keywords, adjust your bids. Those are the things that are driving your CPCs. Those are the things that are driving your ACOS.
So really simple to understand. We've talked about this the last 2 episodes when we were talking about placement bids, and we've talked about bid optimization quite a bit. It's basically revenue per click multiplied by your target ACOS. So that will incorporate what your conversion rate changes have been, and the way that gets incorporated is with your revenue per click, because a higher conversion rate means you have a higher revenue per click. A lower conversion rate means you have a lower revenue per click, and then multiplying that by your target ACOS puts your bids where they need to be. So we have a lot of content on how you can quickly do this in your entire account. You can use a tool like AdBadger. If you have questions on that, definitely hit us up. Or you can use a bulk sheet, or you can just do it right inside your campaign. So that is how you would come to your new bid conclusion. So that is probably one of the most important things that you can do during this whole time as you improve your campaigns. With that, let's move on to metric 4, revenue. Already revenue, Stephen. Talk to us a little bit about revenue.
I feel like this goes for every metric. I was going to say, for some people, revenue's going up. For some people, it's going down. But that is everything that we've talked about. So, but yeah, there's a few. I mean, everyone's, at the end of the day, everyone cares about their bottom line. Or even their top line, because that is what's impacting their business decisions. How much, product, how much inventory should I be holding? How much product should I be ordering? We're going to talk about that on the next episode, by the way. This week is just about PPC specific stuff. Next week, we want to share a little bit more about kind of inventory management, business strategies, but we didn't want to make this episode longer than it needs to be. And maybe it's too late for that, but, 2 things that I would, encourage people to keep in mind with the revenue is, what is the cost of that revenue? So that's going back to the ACOS thing, because your revenue may be going down, but your ACOS is staying pretty consistent. So, that's one thing to kind of keep in mind. And the second thing is actual search volume, because I guess we're talking about, going back to the first thing I said, we're talking about cost of acquisition, like how much does it cost you to get that revenue? And if your revenue is going down, hey, maybe we need to, change our campaign strategies and hit a different market. Maybe we really need to, maybe it's time to really start tapping into retargeting ads, expand our strategies, optimize our product listings to really help out. And again, next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about product listing optimization specifically for this season. But the other thing I'd keep an eye on is search volume. I mean, we've talked about brand analytics, search frequency report. Last week's search frequency report is very different than the first week of January's was. We should have pulled that report up before we started recording this because that'd be funny to look at and see what's different. But like search traffic it's changing. It's a different type of e-commerce traffic. And so don't be too hard on yourself if your revenue's dropping, your campaigns aren't performing, and don't freak out too much. Like a lot of this is just a panic, knee-jerk reaction, and people are probably just like, the traffic's changed. Amazon's seen an overall influx of demand and sales and searches, but it's for a very specific thing. And if anything, it's really just training people who don't normally shop on Amazon to shop on Amazon more. And so moving into the future, people will kind of, especially as they're quarantined, the first half of this month is mostly just like, we need the essentials, we need the work from home stuff. So if you are in one of those dive niches where your revenue is going down, I would just say like, hold on, don't freak out. Like once things kind of smooth out and people get used to quarantine life, they're going to go back to, a lot of their more normal purchases, and that volume will come back up. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents on that. Mike, anything you'd want to add to, total revenue?
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning, in a scenario where maybe, your next 6 weeks is obviously going to be lower than your previous 6 weeks revenue. To me, it's just all about responsiveness. So as that's happening, you want to look at that and like, what is the cost of that revenue? Do I need to be decreasing my bids? And of course, decreasing your bids with the formula that I mentioned a couple minutes ago, that is how you can help get your revenue at the ratio that you want it, get your revenue at the ACOS that you want it. And that ratio ties right into metric 5, which is of course your RPC, your revenue per click, which is paramount during this time. So with that, let's jump into our last metric, metric 5, RPC. So revenue per click in any normal account in any time fluctuates. The quality of one click, like a branded click, is going to be really high. The amount of revenue that you make per click, that's just taking the amount of revenue by the amount of clicks. So $100, 10 clicks, that's $10 in revenue per click. That's obviously going to be the highest for your branded terms, and it's going to be the lowest, meaning you're going to make the least money per click on maybe very broad searches. So if you're selling weights like to work out with, maybe just like a broad fitness. Like sometimes I'll see people bid on the word fitness, and it's like, well, that's kind of not that related. The quality of that click might not be so high, and therefore the revenue per click might not be so high. That doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't convert at all. So it probably needs a low bid because it has a low RPC. And really the point that I want to make with this whole like quality of clicks is this isn't so much a metric, but it's more so like the quality of your clicks in the sense of, is this a research-based click? Is this a browsing-based click? Are people just browsing and then finding my product? Or are they like hunting for it? Like they know exactly what they want. This segues perfectly into, the types of campaigns, your account structure. You're sort of thinking, is a bottom of funnel click? Is this a top of funnel click? Generally bottom of funnels, those branded, those direct searches have a high revenue per click. Therefore they need a high bid. And the top of the funnel ones have a lower buy intent. Therefore they have a lower conversion rate. Therefore they have a lower revenue per click. Therefore they need a lower bid so that you can maintain your targeted costs across the board. So during a time like this, you want to look at where are my really valuable clicks coming from? Where are my really valuable keywords? And allocate your spend towards there. Because, if you have this crazy top of funnel keyword that is barely converting during normal times, it's very likely that it's not converting right now. And for that, you need to take action, either really drive down the bid on that one. And this is where you can sort of pause some of these fringe terms that rarely convert. So that would be sort of my recommendation on how to think about the quality of your clicks and the revenue per clicks. There's a lot to consider with keyword management, I know. Stephen, what haven't I mentioned?
The only thing I would want to add is... I wasn't planning on saying this, but I'll say it. Campaigns don't get sales. Keywords get sales. And more specifically...
I haven't heard that before.
More specifically, search terms get sales. And so in a time like this, if you're really trying to, if conversion rates are low, basically meaning, you're getting less sales per click, now is really, less orders, I should say, per click. Now is the time to really maximize, okay, well, how much revenue am I getting per click? So when it does convert, you only want the clicks that are the highest quality of clicks at this point. So what I was going to say about keyword management is now is really the time to focus on exact and, stop your research campaigns. Stop focusing on the broad and the phrase match. Like if you're going to pause a campaign, that might be one that's worth pausing, and really focus on those exact match keywords. So Mike, with your example, like fitness, if you want to set a really low bid on fitness as an exact match, say you're selling dumbbells, maybe we'll say home fitness, or, to be a little more, whatever, it doesn't matter. Fitness, home fitness, exact match, and you're selling dumbbells. Like if you set a low bid, you could probably, get a decent revenue per click. And with the low cost per click, you could hit a good ACOS. But you wouldn't want to run that, Mike, as you said, as like a phrase or broad match, which would be the same if it's only one word. But because at that point, people could be typing super specific for another product searches, something like
fitness for seniors,
or like fitness bands, and then you're qualifying for that, but it's hyper irrelevant. So focus on the exact match. Don't worry too much about your phrase and broad match or auto, and just max. So keyword management, like, got all your converting search terms. We say that almost every episode. Like, take those converting search terms, turn those into manual exact, and really let those kind of be your breadwinners through this season.
Yes. And to piggyback on that, sometimes people will write in and they'll say, hey, my broad match version of a keyword is converting super high, but my exact match is converting super low. That is generally like happenstance, meaning that broad match is finding other things that are converting better than the exact match version. So in the example of using broad match fitness is converting better than exact match fitness, that, maybe I'm selling dumbbells, and then fitness dumbbells is the thing that's actually getting the conversions in that broad match. So always look at your search term report. That couldn't be more true during this time, because you want to trim the fat. You want to get rid of things that have a low revenue per click, and you want to amplify the things that have a high revenue per click. So Stephen, we have just walked through 5 metrics to really focus on during the coronavirus pandemic. Monitor your target ACOS, monitor your ACOS, adjust your bids daily along with that. Monitor your conversion rates, see if they're going up or down. Monitor your CPCs and have your bids be reflexive of your rising or falling conversion rates, which is directly tied to the amount of revenue that you get, which is directly tied to the revenue per click. And be sure you're cleaning up some of your research-based campaigns, making everything a little bit tighter. That's where you can get some of those money savings. We did a lot. And, during this time, just like we mentioned, we do have an opening in our managed services program. So again, if you are spending over $10,000 a month and you do have questions and you do want to collaborate with us, we have an open spot. So definitely hit us up. We're easy to get in touch with. You can just go to our website. It's on the bottom right of every page. We have a little message bubble, or at badger.com/contact. We'd love to talk with you. Any closing thoughts about PPC and the coronavirus, Stephen?
Nope. I think I said everything that was at least on my mind, but you guys all stay safe out there, stay indoors, and let's get through this together. Yes.
A calm sea has never crafted a skilled sailor, and now it's really an opportunity for all of us to navigate these seas. So hopefully we have given you some new lenses on how to view some of your campaigns during this time. Have a good one. We will see you soon right here at badger.com/podcast. Have a good one, everybody.